Sports 1. I'm a former Boston Celtics season ticket holder. I'm still not over the Boston Bruins loss. It's about as hard a loss for me to take, and I'm hoping at some point I'll get over it. But what a lineup we have for you tomorrow night. 13 fights, 5 hours of live content on Fox Sports 1. Quick show of hands here tomorrow night. Wow, that's a high percentage, Beantown. How many of you do not have tickets yet, dare I ask? Well, that's okay. We'll try to get you in, cameraman. So, very quickly, before we bring out our special guest, interesting main event, Chael Sonnen against Shogun Rua. And for a lot of people who maybe question Chael Sonnen in this spot, look no further than the betting line. He is favored to beat Shogun Rua, who's one of the best 205-pounders of all time. So, to me, I mean, that speaks volumes about Chael Sonnen's ability still at the elite level. How many of you are picking Chael Sonnen to win tomorrow night? Anyone backing Shogun Rua to get it done as a slight underdog? All right. Well, it's going to be interesting tomorrow night. And again, just a great honor, I think, for all of us Bostonians to have this showcase for the UFC be here at the TD Garden. We have a tremendous special guest for you here today. Oftentimes when I'm on the road, I'm asked, who is the biggest superstar in the UFC? And I think a lot of people have different criteria when they answer this question. But when I think about the biggest superstar in the UFC and I think about the response at the UFC Fan Expo, there's one name at the tip of my tongue. Take a look.
When I first walked into the gym and saw everything, I don't even know how to describe it. I used to always watch and be like, man, I wish they had that for girls. I would come in there and I would dominate. I would show everybody. I would change the whole, everyone's idea of what was possible. I would come and do it. I used to just watch The Ultimate Fighter, and now I'm coaching against Kat Zingano, and it's surreal. I knew they were gonna set me up with something.
Hi. Surprise, surprise.
What are you here for? And then Misha comes walking in. It's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. I'm here to coach.
You're here to coach?
I am.
Coach what?
The Ultimate Fighter. That's what you're here to do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you with helping Kat's team out?
I think I'll leave the explaining to Dana, but...
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Where is he at?
Ronda and I fought once before, and my rivalry with Ronda originally started with her being disrespectful in the way that she called me out. I felt like her approach was completely inappropriate, and obviously then we fought, things were heated, I lost.
Do you know where he is?
I don't. So we're not gonna be having any slumber parties anytime soon?
They said she's here to coach.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion, Ronda Rousey.
Everybody.
All right, so many of you know the drill. We have microphones set up on both sides of the arena here. So for the next 45 minutes or so, Ronda Rousey is all yours. So we got a lot to talk about. Of course, you saw that backdrop. The 18th season of The Ultimate Fighter debuts on Fox Sports 1 on September 4th. And I can't even imagine what that was like when Misha Tate walks into the gym. And I guess you were surprised as the rest of us, yeah?
Yeah, but my first inclination was a little bit differently than what I think everybody else would have expected it to be. I mean, I already said publicly before that I thought that they kicked me off the show and that they replaced me with Misha.
Come on, really?
Yes.
So you got to screen the first episode this week, or without revealing any spoilers, were you happy with the way everything turned out, at least for the first episode?
Yeah, the first episode was really cool. It was weird. I was seeing all my little babies again. I was getting kind of mistied up. I'm like, oh my God, there they are on their first day of school. It was kind of cute. It was cute.
Well, that's going to be exciting. But of course, you made your UFC debut at UFC 157, really as memorable a debut as we've had in the UFC in quite some time. And now you got a pretty decent layoff as you wait for December 28th. But you've been busy all over the world. How are you keeping up with the schedule and really just the massive life changes now that you're a superstar?
A lot of coffee. I like just chugged a venti. Oh, I should have got an ad shot. Did you know that if you get a venti at Starbucks, that like they don't put an extra shot in it as opposed to like a grande? I didn't know this. I forgot to ask for that.
That's right.
I know, and that's why I'm like a little bit woo. So,
we got to get you a Starbucks sponsorship here pretty soon. But, I mean, I don't know how you kill all the hours on the airplanes. I'm getting pretty good at it with 5 trips to Brazil, a couple times to Australia. But it definitely wears on you, and they're sending you all over the place, right?
Yeah, Bulgaria next.
Oh, is that where you're going from here? Bulgaria, huh?
Well, I'll get to fly home, and then I'm home for like a day and a half, and then I'm going to Bulgaria.
How about it?
8 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
8 weeks in Bulgaria. I'm sure you'll be training hard. Again, microphones on both sides as we wait for you guys to get brave to come up and ask Ronda Rousey a question. Quickly want to get your thoughts. I know you and Chael Sonnen are pretty tight. He's fighting Shogun Rua here, and you might have heard before you came out, you know, some people question Chael Sonnen coming off a couple losses, getting these headline fights. He's favored to beat Shogun. I mean, what else do you need to know? I mean, he's still an elite fighter, at least in my opinion.
Was that a question or a statement?
Well, I was hoping you'd sort of take it from there, but do you believe Chael Sonnen can still hang with the sports elite at 185 or 205?
Yeah, I mean, you have to think, you say he's coming off a couple losses. We have to see who those losses really are, too. Did he just ask me a question and then, like, walk away from me? How rude is that?
Well, dude, you know, I got one of my bosses over there, and I'm just being told that the best question that is asked over the next 40 minutes or so will get a huge duffel bag full of UFC prizes. So I guess if that's any incentive to strap it on and get up here, please feel free. So best question over the next 40 minutes gets a prize pack. I apologize, my dear. And we will start over here. Yes, sir.
How you doing, Ronda?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming out. Your popularity has risen really quickly over the last couple of years. Have you run into any like celebrity encounters that have really like, you know, give you into like a holy shit moment or anything like that yet?
Yeah, a little bit. I got to like meet the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which I thought was really cool, and they were actually like really approachable and like just normal people. Like I started to realize when people think as like famous people, I think of it as like international high school. And it's like, okay, like all the actors and all like the best actors everyone knows, and that's just the best of all the drama clubs. And all of like the best like, you know, football players, the best basketball players, that's just the best of all the varsity teams. And it's just like, I'm realizing when people think is like the famous people is just like the bigger high school for everybody, I think. And everyone's just like, they're regular people. It's weird.
Thanks a lot, Ronda.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi, Ronda. Huge fan. I love what you're doing for the sport and that you're actually getting around 5-figure. I just wanted to ask, say, like, in 20, 30 years, when you're looking back at your career, what's something you'd like to say that you've done that you haven't yet?
That I haven't yet? Well, I really don't think that the future of the women's division is really solidified yet. And so when it gets to the point where I know in 20, 30 years that the women are still going to be here and people are going to be just as interested and excited about it, like that's the one thing that I would really look back on and be like really proud about is actually having like a legacy, I think.
Yeah, awesome. Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi, Hi, Rhonda. I just wanted to speak to you as a teacher because I always work with young girls trying to empower them to go out and pursue their dreams and whatever they want and break through any barriers that sometimes females face. And as the pioneer, I feel, for female UFC fighters, what would you say was the toughest thing you had to go through to really break through a male-dominant sport, to put females on the map and to be taken seriously?
I think the toughest barrier was actually winning over the people closest to me, because everybody hold dear and just sticking to what I thought I wanted to do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I remember the first time I met you, you told me your mother told you success is the best revenge, and it has stuck with me. I'm not where you are, but, you know, it's certainly something that has stuck with me. Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask, we all know this is a rematch between you and Misha Tate. Do you think this is going to be a tougher match than a match with Kat Zingano? And also, we all know that you love the armbar, but other than that, how do you see yourself finishing her?
Well, being that the fight with Misha is the one in front of me, then I'm going to treat it like it's the hardest fight in the world. And I'm not really putting any, thoughts about anybody else in my head right now. And while they're kind of saying like, oh, Ronda's no good after the first round or the first minute, they're crossing their fingers and hoping that whatever they don't know about my game is bad, whereas I'm assuming that Misha fixed all the holes that I saw in her game last time, and she's going to be like the best version of her that ever happened, and I'm training for a 5-round battle, whereas they're hoping that, after the first round I'm going to peter out, and then, so they're training for the worst version of me possible that they could think of, and I'm training for the best version of her possible that I could even imagine, and that's what I think a big difference is between how me and Misha prepare. And I forgot the second part of your question. What was it?
Other than an armbar, how do you see yourself finishing her?
I see myself, I picture like beating Misha like 20 different ways a day.
What's your favorite?
What's my favorite? I come up with whole new ones. I came up with one the other day where she would fell down on her butt, and then while she was standing up, right as she came up, that I would side kick like this once, in her face. But that I think of a different way every day. So that was one just like a little tidbit. And then after that, then what would she do? Would she fall back down? Would she stand back up? Would she go on her side?
Maybe cry a little bit?
Or what? Yeah. So then I would think of what her possible reactions would be after I kicked her in the face. And then I would think of a whole new way that the fight would go. And then I would think of all the different options and possibilities that could happen. And so there's not one way that I think of finishing it. I invent a billion different ways and scenarios every single day. And so when that happens, whatever comes up, I feel like I'm experienced in the experience before it happens, whereas someone who's really focused on one game plan, if it strays away from that one path that they made up, then they're in foreign territory, you know what I mean?
All right, well, thank you, and picture after?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Time permitting, we could do a few photos. Yes, sir.
Hi, Rhonda. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
First off, you are awesome. Just got to get that out there.
Thank you. You look pretty awesome from here.
Hey, thank you. I am deathly afraid of paper cuts. I was wondering if there is anything maybe out of the ordinary or something that we don't know that you are afraid of.
I thought, how did you know my paper cuts was my thing?
No way.
Yeah, isn't it right in that Maxim right behind you? I swear
Okay,
to God,
I swear I
went
did
on
not
about
know
paper
that.
cuts forever.
I was like, what can I ask Rhonda? And I was like, I'm afraid of paper cuts. What is she afraid of?
No, little
Is
things
that
like
real?
that, like small digit, things I've had both my elbows dislocated. I've dislocated my shoulders, I tore my knees out.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea of hurting a finger, if I had my finger, a knuckle or something where it goes, small digit things, for some reason that creeps me out a whole lot more than anything else. So, but I've broken my toes a lot. I'm cool with toes. If I just broke a finger, I think that would really freak me out. I think it's the only thing, really.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.
I lost a fingernail at Gillette Stadium a few years ago, but we'll save that story for another day. Yes, sir.
Hey, Rhonda, big fan. Got a question. Who were you most impressed with out of the cast of The Ultimate Fighter?
Careful.
And it's officially released, so you can say a name.
I can't really it's like picking your favorite kid. I can't do it. I can't. I was very impressed with all of them at different points for different reasons.
Well, I got a bet with my jiu-jitsu coach, and he's back in Tate. So how fast are you going to beat Tate and get me my money?
I don't know. Some days I picture it in 1 second. Some days it takes 5 rounds. You're just going to have to fork up that money and watch.
Right on. Thanks.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi, Rhonda. Jason Bird from Connecticut. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Big fan. As a matter of fact, I think you're the most exciting athlete in all the sports. And I'm super selfish, so my question is, will you please sign your cover of Maxim magazine?
Yeah, I'll try and stay after and get to everybody as soon as I'm done.
All right, thanks.
No
Yeah,
problem.
all autographs and pictures will have to wait till the end, unfortunately. I'm up here to be the bad guy. Boston Strong, yes, sir.
Hey, welcome to Boston, Rhonda.
Welcome back. I used to live in Wakefield on and off from when I was 16 to 21. Wakefield and Reading and Methuen and that whole area.
A lot of us learned about you as you came into MMA with your bronze medal in 2008. Can you talk a little bit about the match that put you in the bronze bracket and also the match that won you the medal?
Well, okay. So me and Edith Bosch. Well, the thing in judo, you fight the same people all the time, right? And you'll even go to these training camps and we'll have 2 practices a day and you'll have 10 rounds of randori and then you'll look over and you'll see an Olympic final happening, but it's just practice. These people roll together all the time. And so the first time me and Edith Bosch fought, it was I moved up to 70 kilos and what's it called? It was like earlier that year I missed weight in France or something like that. And then, so then I did my first time at 70 kilos. And then I won a World Cup in my first try, which was like crazy. Like that never ever happens. And so then my second tournament at 70 kilos was the German Open. And I fought Edith Bosch like in the quarterfinals or something like that, and she did this one move called a wakigatami, which is like a flying armbar, and it's illegal in judo. So she did it, and she dislocated my elbow, and she got disqualified. And I ended up going through the rest of the tournament. I popped my elbow back in, and I kept fighting. I ended up getting bronze. So then we kind of had like a weird fight like that the first time. And we fought at the Worlds, and she was the defending world champion at that point. And we were at the HBC Arena in Brazil. This is actually like one of my favorite fights ever. And she did the same move again. It was in the semifinals, and I was only in 70 kilos for like 6 months, so it was unheard of for me to even like get that far in the tournament. And she did the same move again. The referee didn't see it, and so like I had to like pop my arm like back in, and then I was behind by like a yuko. That's when you get like thrown on your side. And there was like 20 seconds left or something like that. And with the arm that like she'd already popped out, and I put it back in, I threw her like with a one-handed throw, like woo, and then that whole crowd was booing me earlier that day because I fought the Brazilian earlier. And so then the whole crowd, they freaked out. Oh my God, it was like the last second, like woo, and everyone freaked out. And then I ended up going into the finals, and I lost the finals. Oh, it was so sad. Oh, I cried so bad. It was really, really bad. But you know what? It was one of those times where like the girl was like fighting for points, and I was thinking like, if this was a real fight, I would kill you, you know, like, but it was just like one of those things. And so then that was the second time we fought. So then it was on to the Olympics, and we drew each other in the quarterfinals. And she had been obsessing with that throw, I guess, for a very long time. And we fought the whole 5 minutes, and there was no score. And then we went into golden score, which is like the first point wins. But it was getting to the very end of golden score. And I was always taught when I was a kid, if it goes to a decision, you're going to lose because you're an American, and no one's ever going to do you any favors. And you can't count on anyone to do anything for you. And so it came to the very end of it, and the fight was going to end, and I was like, I'm going to lose this decision. They're just not going to give it to me. I knew that I was done enough to win the fight, but I didn't trust these guys like this. I was like, screw it. I'm just going to gamble. And I just went through this like crazy throw. And she'd been training for it the whole time, you know. And so we ended up flipping around upside down. I didn't really know where I was at. And then I got up, and I was like, was that my score? What happened? What happened? And the referees gave it to her. And so, boom, dropped down to the repertoire, which is also known as the losers bracket. And I was so mad. Like, I was so mad the whole rest of the day. I like had a new like fire under my butt. And I stormed through everybody in the other bracket. And one of the girls that I beat was when I won in the junior worlds when I was like, 17 or something like that. I won at 63 kilos, and this other girl won at 70 kilos. We were finally like fighting each other, and then we fought each other, and then like I threw her so hard, like on top of my own hand, that I bruised all of my knuckles on my one hand. And then I went on to fight for the bronze, and I was fighting the chick that beat me at the German Open for the bronze medal. And what's it called? So she used to do this one like kind of tomonagi. Tomonagi's like that throw that they did in The Lion King, like woo, that one. And so we fought in training camps and all that stuff before, and she had this tricky kind of tomonagi where she would kind of pick you up, and then as you sprawled, she would sweep your feet out. And it was really good for getting like small scores and stuff like that. And she was trying to do it and starting to do it, but I remember her doing it in the fight. So I was like, instead of trying to sprawl out, I jumped over and did like a round off in the air. And right as my back was about to hit the ground, I like flipped over on my stomach, and it was like this crazy fight. And I ended up catching her with that same one-handed throw, and was ahead and ended up winning the fight at the end of it. And I cried like a big old baby, and that was pretty much how that progression of events came to be. Was that a long enough answer for you?
Yeah. How's it going? Ronda Rousey right here.
Hi.
Quick question. We got a big heavyweight fight this fall, and this question's going to lighten it up a little bit, make it a little weird, but we're talking JDS, Cain Velasquez. If you were forced to go on a date with one of those guys, and it's got to be a romantic date, which one of them would it be?
Well, since Junior Dos Santos said that I am just regular looking, I would have to go with Cain.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think something got lost in translation there. Yes, sir.
Hey, Ronda, big fan. I can't wait to see you on Tough. Just one question for you. When you fight Tate this time, are you going to go for a left arm again or the right this time?
I told you guys I improvise. I don't focus on one thing. I see all the options and everything going on. I never even, when I was a kid, my mom told me that there were no sides in mat work. She was like, no, there's no left or right side. There's no sides. And she totally lied to me. She told me other lies, like, she's like, if you don't attack every 2 seconds, they give you a penalty. Like, she would make up all these different kinds of lies like that. And one of them was that there were no sides in mat work. So whenever I'm going from one arm to the other, I don't see it as like, I'm on the left or I'm on the right. You know, I'm just like, this is where I am. So I don't know. We'll see.
All right, thanks.
No problem.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi, Ronda, big fan. I was just wondering, you overcame a lot of adversity in your fight with Liz. I was wondering what that did to improve you as a fighter, and also if you ever thought the fight with Cyborg will happen.
I think I just kind of learned a lot about myself in that moment where, once I got out of the Trojan, she turned it into a crossface. I mean, it was past the point where I think any sane person would have tapped out. But I just kind of realized that I would rather die than lose that match. And so I was just kind of like, well, I'm sure it's way harder to break someone's neck in real life than it is in the movies. So I learned more about what my priorities are after that. And as with the Cyborg fight, man, I've been down to do it. But I mean, I've been saying before, it's no secret that a few days after they announced out of competition drug testing from the UFC, she announced that she wanted to be released from the UFC. We had many people, we had Mike Dolce before even testify that this happened, that we had him sit down with her, meet with her, say we would pay for everything, take care of everything. He said he could easily have her make weight healthily and her be the best shape of her entire career. And they just flatly said no. And I think she knows that she's going to lose and she wants to have enough money for it to be worth it. And for the risk taking and the money offered, they didn't think it was worth it. And so, then they asked for a release and she's, fighting in other promotions, which I think the UFC was going to let her fight in Invicta anyway and even pay her purse. They were going to make everything so easy for her, but that's what happens when you take on Tito Ortiz as your manager.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, Rhonda.
Hi.
My name's Lexi, and I turned 10 today, and I do mixed martial arts and karate, and I wanted to know what it's like to be in the octagon for the first time.
For the first time, it's a weird feeling. It feels like you're outdoors but inside at the same time. Like the whole room feels so big but somehow closed in. And but a lot of times I'm so hyper focused that I don't see everything else going on. It's I only see the person that's right in front of me. And for some reason, even though there's a lot of time in between fights, when I get in there and they actually start to say that the fight's about to start, it feels like the last time I was in there was yesterday. And so I feel like my whole life was just erased in between my two fights. And you're outdoors and you're indoors and you see everything, but you only see one thing. And it's so many things happening at once. It's sometimes it's hard to remember because I feel like I'm only seeing everything happen. I'm only on play and I'm not recording anymore, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Happy birthday. Yes, sir.
Hi, Rhonda. With Bellator recently announcing that they kind of cut their women's division, what is your opinion on that?
My opinion? It's what it's always been. The UFC is way better than Bellator.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Rhonda. Hey, John. John, you're a super polished, super professional analyst, ultimate insider. You're the best. Just congratulations.
Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it.
And Rhonda, there's a lot of talk about adding MMA to the Olympics. How do you think that would work in terms of rules, headgear? What would it do for the sport?
I think it would actually it'd be great for the sport, especially getting a whole lot of other countries involved in it as well, and kind of spreading it. And you definitely have to find a way to kind of pad it a little more and not a little bit more of a point system. I love the way that that amateur boxing really is set up in a way that it's safer and that there's less knockouts, but it encourages developing a good technique and habits from the beginning. And so, as long as we find a way to make it possible for people to fight, several times, in quick succession without it being as taxing on them. But it's hard to add more padding and then not give more advantage to strikers. You know what I mean? And so it would be kind of difficult to find a way to
I
make
think
that
they're
happen.
even taking away headgear from Olympic boxing, if I heard that correctly.
Yeah, I mean, well, headgear, if you think about it, it only really protects from cosmetic injuries. So what really is important is your brain, and if you can whack someone in the head even harder, you know, it's just, that's why I think that MMA gets such a bad rap, because it looks so much more graphic, but it's so much less dangerous, because, yeah, you might get, you know, a cut on your head, but if you think about it, a 4-ounce glove hitting you in the head as opposed to like a 14-ounce glove hitting you in the head is going to cause a lot more or brain damage, but not much facial damage. So I don't know, it'll be hard to kind of find a happy median between all that. But I think just putting like those big bear paw gloves, I think, and then like making the round shorter or something like that. I think maybe making it very, very short would kind of be a good way to get fighters to have a much faster pace when they finally move over into pros. So maybe like, yeah, just adding, and maybe like shin pad, like socks, like, you know, like sleeves instead of like an actual like shin pad, stuff like that. Or like, I don't know, we could think of some stuff.
Cool, thank you.
We're inventive people, but we can make it happen.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen.
And Wrestling Olympics 2012, we got to figure that out.
Save wrestling. What are they going to add Frisbee next to replace wrestling? It's the first Olympic sport. It makes zero sense.
Thanks, man. Yes, dear.
Hi, Rhonda. I'm Olivia from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm 10, and I do MMA, and there's 10 boys, and I'm the only girl in my class. What advice do you have for me?
What advice? Well, I think that you should never let anyone make you feel uncomfortable just because you feel out of place. And I think that's what actually makes you a little better and a little stronger than everybody else, because it's a little less comfortable for you, but you do it anyway. And so I think that you're going to gain a lot more as a person in your character by feeling like you're the only one and out of place than they will, you know, being much more comfortable. So I say, good for you, and keep it up. And don't let anyone ever make you feel like you don't belong, because you have a right to be there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, Rhonda. I went to your first fight with Misha Tate in Ohio when you took the belt from her. I was wondering, what are your hardest things that you went through to get where you're at today?
Ooh. There's a lot of stuff that went down. The hardest thing ever in my life, like, I really don't want to get into it too much, but, you know, my dad dying was hard for my whole family.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, man. Yes.
Hi, I'm Tori. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I was just wondering, how did you get your nickname Rowdy?
Rowdy. Well, when I first started doing MMA, everyone was like, you need a nickname, you need a nickname. Everyone, immediately their first impression was Rowdy. What about Rowdy? And I'd be like, no, because Roddy Piper already has Rowdy. I can't steal his name, you know? And then it turns out that one of my first grappling coaches is Gene LaBelle, and he was Roddy Piper's grappling coach back in the day. And so I was training at Highest End, which is one of the clubs that he was at, and they opened up a new location. They had a big grand opening thing, and this was before my first amateur fight, and Roddy Piper came to the opening because he wanted to, you know, come support his friend Gene. And I went up to him and I asked him, I said, is it okay? I have a fight coming up soon. Can I use the name Rowdy? And he was like, yeah, sure, kid, whatever. And I'm sure he didn't think it was going to be anything. And then, so I got permission from Roddy Piper himself and kind of ran with it. And yeah, it's now it's like a thing. And he's been always so supportive and been, I'm so proud that she's got my nickname. And I was just kind of feel like it's really cool that I really got his permission first. I got the blessing of the original Rowdy to carry the Rowdy. And yeah, I'm very proud of my nickname.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
How's it going, Rhonda? Huge fan.
Thank you.
I was wondering if you had any quirks that, like, before fights, I would always triple knot my shoes before a wrestling match, and a friend of mine would always eat gummy bears. I don't know. I was wondering if you had anything.
Right when I get into the locker room, I want to take a nap.
Okay.
As soon as I get there, yeah, I go and I lay down and I go to sleep. And I don't like people like joking and laughing or like on their cell phones in my locker room. I was like, everybody quiet. taking a nap. I'm gonna get up and warm up. We're gonna go. And I just like to be very like calm and quiet. And yeah, that's kind of, some people like to have music on, and some people like to joke around. And I'm just like, everyone, shut up. I'm sleeping, and then I'm gonna go beat up this girl, and then we can be cool. That's kind of like how my quirkies are. And the battle boots. I always had my same like torn up pair of boots that I wear out. They are so comfortable because my toes, for some reason when I fight, I lose all the circulation in my toes. That's why I stomp my feet when I come out. I'm not trying to look scary. It's that I'm trying to get the blood back into my toes because it's like, for some reason, all the blood in my body is only going to vital organs, and it's just like, you know, screw those toes, no more, you know, and they're not doing anything useful. And so that's, yeah, the battle boots are for warming my toesies, and the stomping is for warming my toesies.
Very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hello, beautiful.
Hey, handsome.
I want to ask you, I know young female fighters look up to you and want to be just like you. I want to know, as a person, who did you look up to as a fighter?
I looked up to my mom. She was, I could go on and on about how awesome my mom was. She was the first American to ever win the World Championships in Judo. It was in 1984. She got a perfect score on the SATs at 16, graduated college at 19, and when she won the World Championships in Judo, she was working as an engineer, getting her PhD, and a single mother all at the same time. And even after all that, and she started her own consulting company from scratch, turning into a multi-million-dollar business, and now her and my stepdad are making like an interactive 3D RPG game to teach kids math. And she is just constantly brilliant, and I try very much to live up to her and her example. And it's easy to believe it's possible for you to be the best in the world when you have a world champion walking through the living room telling you to, you know, take out the cat litter.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm Jason.
Hey, Jason.
I actually have two questions. The first question is for my 4-year-old daughter who couldn't be here today. Her favorite color is pink, and she's a big fan, and she wanted to know what your favorite color was.
It's aquamarine.
Okay. Second question is, do you really hate Misha Tate?
Hate is a very strong word. I don't hate her at all, but I don't hate her boyfriend, but I'm close. I'm close to it. I have strong disdain for him, but for her, you know, I think that you are the average of the 5 people you're around the most, and that he just takes up her entire top 5, and she's just a very impressionable and malleable person from what I've seen of her. I just see that she little things that I see happen, she has she mirrors people a lot. And so I think she really mirrors that guy, and there's just something about him, man. I don't like him. And I think that she actually won her title when he was off doing tough or something like that. So it's like when he's not around, she's actually nicer and competes better. And I just feel like I kind of feel bad for her. I don't know. It just seems like a weird situation.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Yes, sir.
Hey, Ronda. I know you're fighting Misha and you're 100% focused on her, but what female fighter has impressed you the most, and how do you think you would stack up against her?
I think both Kat Zingano and Sarah McMahon have really, really impressed me, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how their UFC careers continue to progress. And I was so looking forward to Coffin versus McMahon. I thought that was going to be such a cool fight, and it was such a cool matchup too that it was just bound to be good. So I'm kind of bummed that that's going to happen. I hope it gets rescheduled some other time because, you know, I'm a fan too. You know, I love watching these girls, even though, you know, I watch them analytically. I'm still a fan of the sport and a fan of them. So I can't wait to see them both start fighting again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Got about 5 more minutes, folks, so make it as quick as you can. Yes, sir.
Hey, Ronda. Tito Ortiz, Misha Tate, Brian Caraway, marry, kill, armbar.
Marry, kill, armbar. All right. I'd kill Caraway. I'd armbar Tito. And me and Misha are going to Vegas.
Thank you. Good question, better answer. Yes, sir.
Hi, Rhonda. My name is Dylan. I'm from Prince Edward Island.
But only because Misha seems like a pushover in a relationship.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Rhode Island. You got my undivided attention.
Prince Edward Island, actually.
Oh, sorry.
It's all good. I want to ask you, if you
Edward
could be an
Island.
animal for one day, what would you be?
I think it'd be cool to be a dolphin.
Interesting choice.
Yeah, I feel like, dolphins were smart, and I don't know, I used to bartend at Gladstone's, and it's at the end of Sunset and PCH, and I would just see these dolphins go by every day and be like, man, they look like they got it good, and I would just be sitting there shaking up like a martini, being like, dolphins, and I don't know why I always kind of envied dolphins. They just cruise around and eat stuff and bite on those dolphins. Even sharks don't mess with them. Yeah. Anyway, for some reason, that's not the first time I've got that question. Why do people ask me
I was going to say,
that?
you are prepared for any question they throw your way. It's very impressive.
Pretty much, yeah.
Thank you.
Watch, this guy's going to come up with something totally random. I'm like, I don't know, man.
It's not that crazy. Hi, Rhonda. I like to show people the Misha Tate armbar when they don't know that women do MMA. What was going on in your mind when you were doing that?
Well, when you're armbarring somebody, like I've been armbarred before and gotten out of it after my elbow was dislocated because the reason why you're able to hold them in that situation is because like just anatomy, and leverage. As soon as the elbow dislocates, it actually makes it easier for them to get out. And so what was going on in that moment was, okay, I bridged back as far as I could, and she wasn't tapping. I was like, okay, I should bring it off to the side and try to push it even more, and she wasn't tapping, and she was starting to bridge out. And so I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna hold this down with my left hand, and I'm gonna sit up, and I'm gonna punch her in the face with my right hand. And that's what I was thinking. I was pushing that down, and I came up to hit her in the face, and then she tapped out before I started punching her in the face with my other hand. I'm still in problem-solving mode. I still assume that they could still get out. It's not over until it's over. So I'm not sitting there thinking, it's over. I'm thinking is it done yet? No, I did. What else do I need to do? What else do I need to do? So it's, there's no really emotions involved. I was just trying to get her to give up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
A two-part. First one is, would you do tough again? And the second part is, do you see the UFC gradually moving towards all-female fight cards?
No, I would never do tough again, and no, I don't see why they would do an all-female tough card, or I don't see why they would do an all-guys card unless they don't have enough girls. I think that mixing everybody is the right way to do it. That in judo they tried separating the women's World Cups and the men's World Cups, and I thought that was terrible.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Hey, Rhonda, big fan. You've been in a lot of high-pressure situations in a very short amount of time. I'm just curious, how does an Olympic, bronze medal match kind of compare to you're the first woman in UFC history, you're walking out to that cage? How did those two compare?
Nothing compares to the Olympics.
Okay.
It really doesn't, because it's your whole life, and you have one day. And that's it. And with MMA, it's just it's not as final as the Olympics is. It's not as scary because you might never get a chance again, and then you have your next chance is going to be in 4 years. Whereas in MMA, it's okay, that sucks, but there's a life and everything afterward, and you can fight for it again. And you know what I mean? It's it's not the end of the world, whereas losing the Olympics is the end of the world. And so I really feel because I went through the Olympics, 2 Olympic Games first, that there's no situation that can really intimidate me any more than that. And so I think that's what makes it possible to get in these crazy high pressure situations over and over and over again, because it's I'm practiced in it. It's it is what it is. And it's, I just get just as nervous and just as anxious and just as scared as anybody else. But it's what you do with all those emotions. The higher pressure situation is, I fight above myself, I do better. Whereas some people, they crack under situations like that. So if I was if I was fighting Liz Carmouche, but it was in some high school gym and there were 3 people there, I probably wouldn't have done as well, and I wouldn't have been as focused. But when it's high pressure, I get ultra focused and I do better.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Final question, sir. A lot of pressure. What do you got?
Hi, Rhonda. I know you're focused on Misha Tate right now, but there's been a lot of discussion about super fights, and I just want to know if Dana approached you about fighting any current male UFC fighter, who would you choose and why?
You know my answer. I have answers. Go Google it, man. Like, I just said I would kill Caraway 5 seconds ago.
Super fight, though? That's what you would pick for a super fight?
What do you mean?
Not
He's
a-
not
not
super
a-
enough for you?
Not a GSP or, someone better. More challenging, I think,
Man, you're trying to get me in trouble, man. All these guys are my boys. Like,
No, not necessarily in a disrespectful way, but a challenge.
I wonder what that betting line on Rousey Caraway would be, actually. That's what I'm thinking about right now. I don't know.
I don't want any of the guys to get mad at me because I'm gonna have someone come up to me later and be like, "What, girl? Come on!" Like, I don't want that argument to happen. I'm gonna have to abstain from that question.
I got you.
Sorry.
That's all right.
You don't want to put me in a hostile working environment, do you?
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming out. Don't forget the fighters tip this scale at 4 o'clock. One more time, ladies and gentlemen. UFC champion Ronda Rousey.
Understand nothing was done for me, so I don't plan on stopping at all. I want it forever, mine, ever mine, ever mine. I'm shutting down in the mall and telling that girl she the one for me, and I ain't even planning the call. I want it forever, mine, ever mine, ever mine. Last name ever, first name greatest. Like a sprained ankle, boy, ain't nothing to play with. Started off local, but thanks to all the haters, I know G4 pilots on a first name basis. In your city, faded off the brown. Nino, she insists she got more class. We know, swimming in the money, come and find me. Nemo, if I was at the club, you know I balled. Chemo, dropped a mixtape that sounded like an album. Who'da thought a countrywide tour be the outcome? Labels want my name beside an X like Malcolm. Everybody got a deal, I did it without one. Yeah, I'm about my business. Killing all these rappers, you would swear I had a hit list. Everyone who doubted me is asking for forgiveness. If you ain't been a part of it, at least you got to witness. Cheers. It may not mean nothing to y'all. Understand nothing was done for me, so I don't plan on stopping at all. I want it forever, mine, ever mine, ever mine. I'm shutting down in the mall and telling that girl she the one for me, and I ain't even planning the call. I want it forever, mine, ever mine.
Ever Mr. West is in the building. Ain't no question who about to kill. I used to have hood dreams, big fame, big chains. I stuck my dick inside his life until that came and went hard all fall like the ball teams, just so I could make it rain all spring. Y'all seen my story, my glory. I had raped the game young. You could call it statutory when a nigga blow up. They gon' build statues for me. Old money, Benjamin Button, what nothing. Super bad chicks giving me McLove, and you would think I ran the world like Michelle's husband. You would think these niggas know me when they really doesn't. Like they was down with the old me. No, you fucking wasn't. You such a fucking loser. He ain't even go to class, Bueller. Trade the Grammy plaques just to have my granny back. Remember she had that bad hip like a fanny pack. Chasing the stardom, turn you to a maniac. All the